from being raised by both grandparents, I got very different stories of what, you know, the African American experience was like in America. If it's a man in your life that's keeping you down, cut him loose, you know. Like the title says, you can do bad all by yourself.
Well, there was a guy that doesn't like pop. He was the speaker after me. It was basically like everything that guy just did is of the devil. And you invite an artist like me up, and then you invite a speaker like him up. It causes confusion, and people don't really know who to believe.
You know, most people don't believe that one person can change the world. One person can change the world. When success comes your way, will you use it to change the world? What would you do? Well, today we got two great guests, and they're using their success to change the world. I want you to get ready, because it's going to bless you. And I guarantee, after this, you're going to want to change the world. I go by the name of Corey Conjure, and this is Lift Every Voice.
Closing doors.
Lift every voice. Lift up your voices. Let it ring with wise words. Spoken. From the east to the west, give it your best. Lift every voice.
Ascension achieved.
Brian White is an actor, a model, a dancer, and a businessman who uses his success to make change in the world. After an injury ended his athletic career, the star of such movies as I Can Do Bad by Myself, Stomp in the Yard, and The Family Stone now uses his passion for people to help young kids find role models and find their voices. Brian White, who has also founded 2 charities and a dance company, is making a change in the world. You may have seen his face time and time again, but this man is someone whose story you should know. Meet Brian White.
Welcome to Lift Every Voice. I'm your host, Corey Conjure. With us today, no other than Brian White.
Good to be here.
What's up, guy?
I am blessed to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, the man who play all the roles, that sit back and the ladies start off going, oh, look at him, look at him. And then somewhere in the middle, they be like, why do you take those roles?
I like pushing myself, exploring my boundaries, seeing you know, what I'm capable of as an actor, and that means playing the good guys like a Sly and Stomp the Yard, and the bad guys like Randy and I Can Do Bad. So I'm on a journey to learn as much as I can and to explore this craft that is acting.
You used to be a football.
Mm-hmm.
Where you learn how to dance like that?
I have a dance company, football. When I was at Dartmouth College, as a freshman, they made us take ballet. Ballet is intrinsic to football because it's about agility, balance, coordination. I gravitated towards it. I loved it. It was the first thing that I had done that scared me. Getting ready to come out on that stage at a performance with my coaches in the audience, I blanked on all the choreography and it all came back to me. It was the first thing that really challenged me in that way and made me afraid to try. And so I went after it with all my passion and did it for all 4 years in college, ballet, jazz, modern. And then when I graduated and was playing for New England, started a dance company, which was about edutainment, educating through entertaining.
What happened in football? Why are you not playing anymore?
Well, the lifespan in the NFL is about 2-3 years. I played 2. I tore my hamstring in half when I was playing for the World League, NFL Europe, and made a transition. You know, stopped playing professional sports. I'd also played professional lacrosse and went to become a stockbroker. And found out that that wasn't what I loved to do.
Hold on a second. Ladies, I'm gonna find out in a minute. Chill out. Keep talking. You know that one knows he's single.
Yeah,
keep going. I'm gonna
question
find out in a
is.
minute. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I was always taught by my mother, find out the things in life that you love to do and then try to make a career, you know, doing those things and only those things.
How does somebody grow up to be so strong as you? You have all girls as sisters, but your dad wasn't in your life.
My dad's one of my best friends. We're very close, but I wasn't raised with my father around because he was still playing. He was on the road.
Playing for the Celtics.
Playing for the Celtics.
Okay.
And I think I benefited by being raised in a house full of women because I had to learn to articulate myself. I had to learn how to communicate. It was all verbal communication because, you know, when you have brothers, you can beat them up or fight with them. I had sisters, I had to talk to them. And so from a very early age, and especially with them all being younger, it was about sharing, it was about teamwork, it was about communication, it was about, you know, trying to learn how to motivate people to do what you wanted to do rather than trying to force them to do what you wanted to do. And that's I think, the #1 thing that's benefited me as I've grown up.
Let's talk motivation, because you're self-motivated, you're an innovator. Why don't you stop? Why don't you quit?
I was raised in a family where there were no limits. The glass ceiling never existed in my family. And I mean, I had two different sides of the family. I have my dad's side, which is from St. Louis, church folks, Midwestern folks, and then my mom's side's from Topeka, Kansas, and there, my grandfather owned 11 mortuaries, and I have a picture of my grandmother Pearl and my grandfather Newt sitting on a Cadillac in the 20s wearing furs. And yeah, man, he owned a speedboat and a golf course.
Wow.
And so, from being raised by both grandparents, I got very different stories of what you know, the African American experience was like in America, and I basically took those two and said, well, you know, I want to do something different than everybody did, so I want to go further, and I was always encouraged to do that. So I was raised in and around the church and taught that, you know, all things are possible through your relationship with God, and if you don't have that relationship, nothing's possible. There was never a moment where I felt alone, you know, whether it was sports or academics or, you know, having bad things happen in my life. You know, even if my parents weren't around, I still had, you know, the man upstairs to lean on and lift me up.
You know, I'm smiling because I so hear the lady sitting back saying, wow, his background is good. His family's good. He was brought up the right way. Oh, and he's good looking too. Is he single?
No, I'm not single. I'm not single. I'm not married, but I'm not single.
I want to come right back. I want to talk about marriage, relationships. I know you got a word in you because you stay in the Word of God. You church. You all coming back. We're right here with Brian White on Lift Every Voice.
I mean, marriage is to me about 5 things, and they all have to do with compatibility.
Well, there was a guy that doesn't like hip-hop. He was the speaker after me. And it was basically like, everything that guy just did is of the devil.
Stay tuned. Welcome back.
Welcome back to Lift Every Voice. I'm your host, Corey Condry. Brian White.
We back.
I can do bad all by myself. Your character, your role.
Yeah, Randy. He, in the simplest terms and most convenient definitions, Taraji's character of April, it's a beautiful flower, you know, trying to reach up for the sun, and my character, Randy, is that cloud, preventing her from that sun. And she is blessed enough to, I'd say, inherit her 3 nieces and nephews to come live with her after the passing of her mother. And they are her mirror, and they let her see what a mess her life is. And she makes the change and blossoms. So that's the movie in a nutshell, but Randy's the conduit to the message, which is you can do bad all by yourself. You don't need any help. If you're doing poorly, make some adjustments, make another decision, choose to go in a different direction. You know, and that's definitely a message to the ladies. And being raised by a lady, you know, y'all don't need to take any mess. Y'all are the queens, okay? You are the ones to be chased. You are the ones to be desired. You are the ones to be put on a pedestal. And, you know, if it's a man in your life that's keeping you down, cut him loose, you know. Like the title says, you can do bad all by yourself. And fellas, think about the consequences and repercussions of your actions, you know. With 5 younger sisters, that's what the film. A lot of times I share the scripts with my mom, my sisters, my lady, and say, do you see the message of the same themes that I'm seeing, you know, in this material?
Right now, you're not married.
No.
So many people are not married. They want to make that move to get married. Minister to them right now.
I mean, marriage is, to me, about 5 things, and they all have to do with compatibility. You know, make sure you're spiritually compatible, which to me means, how are you going to raise your kids? I mean, you can come together. There can be a meeting of the minds, but that next generation needs some direction. So make sure that there's compatibility there. Make sure there's social compatibility. Can you go the same places? Do you like to do the same things? You know, my lady, I can survive in her world. She can survive in mine, but we're individuals as well. You know, make sure your families, you know, get along, or that you know, you know, what the problems are going into it, because, you know, to me, family is everything. That's the reason for marriage. Which brings me to make sure you have the same views on family and children. You know, if you marry a woman or marry a man and he wants 5 kids and she doesn't want any, there's going to be a problem. And then lastly, you know, you gotta make sure that, you know, where you want to be in this world physically. You know, if you want to live in the United States and she wants to live in Europe, that's not going to work. But if you have those 5 things that kind of line up, then proceed down that path. And I think with my lady, those were things that we discussed in the first 30 days of knowing each other as friends. So those are my thoughts on marriage, and you know, what that institution really means, and you know, what my goals are.
Brian White, self motivated.
Hey, gotta be. Nobody else is gonna motivate you.
You're the definition of, I can do all things through Christ Jesus,
Yes, sir.
who strengthens me. The question is right now, what are you doing? Are you self-motivated? Well, if you need some inspiration right now, pick up the Bible. And I'm telling you, all of your answers are right there. It's Brian White.